welcome back to Slothbox. I'm Lyndon Dixon, joined today by David Coldwell. Dave, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How's your day been? How's the gym?
Yeah, good, good. I had some good work with the boys in the gym. Yeah, coming towards the end of the week now. So yeah, it's been a good week. It's a good week of progress and work, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll get straight into it now, into the boxing talk. I'm sure you know what I'm going to ask first.
No, not really.
AJ.
Oh, really? Okay, I kind of thought then you were going to talk about Eubank or something like that. No.
No, mate, the rumor mill's crazy at the minute. First it was Dempsey McKean, then it was White, and now it's Jermaine Franklin thrown into the hat.
Hmm.
Who would you like to see him face, but who do you think he'll face next?
Listen, it depends on. So there's two different ways of looking at this. If I'm just being a boxing fan, then I want to say, oh, Dillian White, let's get
Yeah,
that fight on because that's a great fight. Good, it's a good. Both of them are coming off of. I know Dillian won, but he got beat by Tyson. He's still rebuilding.
yeah,
The tough fight with Franklin. Some people say that he got beat. So it's a good fight. It's a good fight at this stage of the careers for the fans. But if I'm part of Team AJ, it's a new coach again,
yeah.
coming off of back-to-back losses. Then I want to have him in a fight first before he goes into a fight like a Dillian White or
Yeah,
anything bigger. So um, uh, when I heard Dempsey, is it
yeah,
Uh,
Dempsey McKean.
McKean. I was like, oh, that's that's kind of for me. That wasn't. I understood it again, a confidence booster,
Yeah,
but it's kind of like way below the levels that I would have thought.
exactly. Yeah,
A world champion who loses his world title comes back against. But I kind of understand it, but I was very, very disappointed in it. If it's this Franklin fellow that fought Dillian White, that's a good fight.
yeah,
That is a good comeback fight because he's a live opponent. He's proven himself to be a live opponent with Dillian, with the fight with Dillian, because a lot of people thought that he won the fight, regardless of whether he won or not. He gave Dillian a very, very tough night at the office. So AJ's first fight back, coming off of the brace of Usyk losses, and also with a new coach as well. I think that's a really good fight for him.
me too. You mentioned that new coach just then. It's Derek James. He's got a great
Mm.
stable already with Spence and Charlo. Do you think that that's the right fit for AJ?
I don't know because listen, he's a great trainer. He's a great, great trainer. But I'll say this, I always feel this. I mean, you see people like Freddie Roach and Manny Stewart had Naz, and that never quite clicked. And Freddie Roach has had good fighters that have come to him, and it's never quite clicked. Just because you're a great trainer doesn't mean that it's going to work with every fighter. And
Yeah,
that's only something that we kind of know wants to work together, which is why I do feel it's important that when you go to a new trainer, you don't just dive straight into a massive fight
yeah, yeah,
because you don't know if that relationship's going to gel, if you're going to mesh together. And I think a lot of things, especially obviously what we've spoke about with AJ before. I think a lot of it comes down to trust. He has to trust the people that he's working with, and I think he's got to trust them, implicitly, and that only gets developed so over time. So it's hard. I can't say whether that's a great move or not, but
yeah.
he's certainly a very, very good coach, very, very good coach.
Say he has that fight in April, whether it's White, McKean, or hopefully Franklin. What again, as a fan and as the imaginary part of Team AJ, what would you want next? Is it that Wilder fight? Is Fury finally going to fight him? Do you know what I mean? What is after that? Because yeah, he needs the recovery fight and the
Do
time
you
to
know what?
rebuild.
If you want me to be totally honest, just talking to you, right? I'm not asked. Oh, this no, because people keep talking about AJ Fury, AJ Wilder, AJ
Mm,
Fury. Mate, that those fights are miles away
no,
because when we thought they were right there on the doorstep, they didn't happen. So right now, he's coming off for his loss against Usyk. Let him have this fight that he's fighting. If it's Franklin, it's Franklin. Let him get this fight. If it's Franklin, then that looks like a real fight. So he's got to get through that. Then you can start talking about what comes next. But all this shit talk about Fury fight, about Wilder fight. Fury's going to fight Usyk.
Yeah,
Wilder's going to fight whoever he's going to fight. There's so many different things that will happen. I'm sick of fight. What I'm sick about with boxing at the moment is that we're talking about all these great fights, but there's always obstacles in front of them.
I know.
Inouye's just stepped up to super bantamweight. No shit, no messing about. He stepped straight up, and in a matter of a couple of weeks of announcing he's stepping up to super bantamweight, they've made the fight with Fulton.
Massive
Mate,
fight.
shit can happen.
Yeah.
Shit can happen. You know, and you can't tell me that Inouye's not a superstar with probably demands and things like that. I know he's not heavyweight champion of the world and stuff like that. I get that. But what I'm saying is that sometimes certain fighters kind of like they go under the radar and people don't speak about them, but they're doing all the right things. Whereas we talk about fights that aren't happening, and we're talking about, and we, you know, different excuses, financial excuses, territorial excuses, A-side excuses. There's so many excuses being made in boxing with certain fights that, you know, until AJ versus Fury signed, who cares? Until
Yeah.
AJ versus Wilder's signed, yes, that's the fight I want to see because it's such an exciting fight, such an exciting matchup. But you know, they had chances to make those fights in the past, never happened. So you know, there's a track record there that says the fight's not going to happen. So until you're proven correctly, then you know, there's other fighters that I'd rather talk about, to be honest.
Exactly. Well, you mentioned them there. Inoue versus Fulton. What a fight that is.
Great fight, great attitudes, great fight. Two really good fighters. I know he's unbelievable. He's an absolute beast. It's not just his power; he's technically awesome, and his feet are fantastic, and you know his brain, his shot selection. Very very good fighter. But Fulton's really good as well. It's really good fight, and
Yeah.
you know, can he do it? Can he step up all the way up to 122 and win a world title? That's exciting. That's superstar shit. That is.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Fury a minute ago, and you said that it's Fury Usyk next.
I
That's the
don't know. I
thing.
don't know if it is, but that's what I mean. They're talking about. Yeah.
That's what we're led to believe anyway. But you've seen him up close when he fought Bellew. You've had to prepare for him, train for him. If that fight happens, is Usyk the man to give Fury his first loss?
Ability wise, I think he's fantastic. I think he's the best fighter out there in that division, ability wise. I just don't, because the problem is with Fury, not only Fury he's got the physical attributes that makes him a monster, makes him so hard to beat anyway. But he can also box long, box up close, be aggressive, box on the back foot, box southpaw, box orthodox. He can just negate you and frustrate you if he chooses to, like he did against Vladimir Klitschko. And he's very, very mobile himself. So the kind of things that work for Usyk, put it this way: if they were both the same sort of size, and if Fury was just a normal size heavyweight, I would favor Usyk to win the fight. I think he could win the fight. I think he would win the fight. I just think he is the better, you know, all round the better fighter. But with the physical attributes, along with the skills and the boxing ability that Fury's got as well, I think that's probably too big a order for Usyk. So I'd make Fury the favourite.
Yeah. Give me an overview of last year for you. Like, are you happy with how it went overall for yourself and the fighters?
No. It was a mixed year. I think everybody knows that. Sometimes what you got to do is otherwise you know. As I've got older, I've realised you've got to kind of like try and enjoy your successes and celebrate your moments a lot more as while you're in them. but it's very hard because you're always looking for the next one. But when I look back, you've got to realize, you know, it ended pretty shitty. Jordan getting beat,
Yeah,
and everything that happened with the Rose fight, that didn't happen. But Jordan won a European title in that same year.
yeah,
So that is a big success. Jordan won a European title. Hopey Price continued his development. Stephen Cairns moved to 4-0. And then at the end of the year, young Ali joined my gym, joined the stable. So a lot of positives in the year as well. So you gotta remember
yeah.
that. But no matter how good a years or whatever they are, and once it's done, it's done. You've got to move on to the next one, and that's kind of why I don't think that we appreciate a success as much as what we should do. We kind of dwell on the down nights and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but we don't really appreciate the successes.
Mm. Just mentioning Jordan there, I spoke to Stephen Kearns in the week, and I asked him what was the mood like in the gym, and he said it was a shit night at first, but you just end up having to get on with it. Was
Yeah,
that the case? Did you just get on with it?
that's exactly the case. Obviously, it was heartbreaking.
Mm.
It was one of the toughest nights I've had as a coach. Uh, it's literally it was devastating. But like I say, I say to my fighters, I say to my kids, at the end of the day, when something comes along that isn't in the plan, something comes along that absolutely makes you feel like shit, goes against you, it's a failure, however you want to see it.
Yeah,
You can't dwell on it because it's done. There's no once it happens, there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is look at what the possible learnings are from it, and take that away and improve and look to be more determined, come back, and keep moving forward because it's only it's only the end of the world if you allow it to be. If you
yeah,
that's it. That's
exactly.
if you just give up on it and that's it, then it's the end of the world and that's how the story ends. But you've got to kind of like move on and because life's full of ups and downs, isn't it? So
But what are the plans for your fighters at the minute? You've got Cairns, the hot prospect. Gil we spoke about coming off of a loss, who's moving up in weight.
yeah,
Price looking for a big fight. What is next for your stable, mate?
this right. So Hopi Price, listen, this kid's special. But he's had 9 fights. He's 9-0. We're in this time and this generation where promoters and certain people, certain fans, are wanting to rush kids through,
I know.
and it's single digits. Oh, he needs to be like. After 6 fights, you've got Eddie and other people saying, oh, he needs to be fighting big fights. He's too good for this level. And build the fighter,
Yeah,
build the fighter. So my eye, and this is what's going to happen in 2023 is that Opie Price is gonna we're gonna move 10 round fights, and he's gonna keep on developing. If you look at his record, he's fought good fights for a kid that in the levels of the amount of fights he's had himself and so young. He's had good opponents, but I want now to start. You remember when they started bringing in like names that just now on the downward spiral, but they got the experience,
yes,
fought
yeah,
at good levels, so you can soak that experience up. I want the ring experience against guys like that. The problem that we've had is that we can't ever get any sparring with guys that are like really small. When I say really small, I mean like his opponents have been smaller than me. I'm small, right? And we'll watch videos and we'll see on Box Rec or whatever. Sometimes they don't have the height or whatever, but sometimes it might say he's a certain height. And I'm like, it looks my height. You're trying to judge him against the rope. It's like, right,
yeah,
okay, my height. And then I get to the weigh-in and the guy's got trainers on, and I'm taller than him. And I'm like, what? And then Opie's got to fight him. So everybody is sparring is like a lot bigger. And then it takes him 3 rounds to get his range against these guys that are like
Mm,
really, really small. I know it sounds funny, but it is an actual problem.
yes,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so when you're boxing these small fights, because domestically, trying to get fighters to spar, he spars a lot of people a lot bigger than him. Not bigger than him, but a lot bigger than his weight division. So a lot of
yes,
super
yeah,
featherweights, a lot of lightweights, spars with light welterweights. because he's so big. Because the guys that are small, either it's not competitive sparring, or don't want to spar him. So that has been a tricky part of his development at this stage. But now we're getting into the bigger fights. I'm wanting to hopefully get sparring partners from abroad, probably, and things like that, where we can get guys, because no doubt it will keep having to fight smaller guys, but as you're going up, the 122 fights are a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
So it's funny, because when you're at the novice sort of level, it's a lot of guys that used to be bantams that are now super bantams, and
yeah.
just, it's like, so you get a smaller sort of fighters. Now hopefully we get a little bit bigger, so we can develop on that side of things. I know it sounds like you'll think, well, what's that going to do it? But it is actually something where when you're getting on fight night and he's punching so much further down,
Yeah,
it's a little bit tricky getting, and especially when they start crouching and trying to get out of the way of shots, and they're literally down at his knees when they're trying to defend. So it is something that we'll want to try and look and get smaller sparring partners in, really.
what about Jordan Gill? He's come off a loss, but he's moving up in weight now.
Yeah.
What is the plan for him next this year?
Rebuild.
Mm.
Rebuild is a he's had a really tough career, as in terms of a lot of frustrations.
Yes, yeah,
He's never had the smoothest road, but he's been the ultimate professional. He's always lived the life. He doesn't sulk about it. He just gets on with it. He doesn't get jealous or upset when other people are getting further than him and things like that. And he's not one of them sort of kids. It was amazing that he become European champion. He's ended up, he's won Commonwealth, WBA international, and European titles. Fantastic career. But he said to me something about when he was a kid boxing as an amateur, and I mean a kid, in the juniors, he was heavier than what he's boxing at. Well, what he's been boxing throughout his pro career as a featherweight. His entire pro career has been at featherweight. So I'm not saying that's the reason why I got beat by
oh
Kiko,
yeah, yeah,
but when a fighter isn't showing any signs of being chinny or being hurt or anything like that in the gym, and then he goes into a fight, and yes, Kiko, it's like a monster, but it wasn't catching Jordan with full-blooded shots,
yeah,
but he was going down and just bouncing straight up. It's not like he was gone. Look at how he was bouncing up, and his legs were fine.
yeah,
Everything, it was
yeah.
weird. It was just strange. Um, and then if you look at his photo at the weigh-in, if you look at his face at the weigh-in, it looked like shit.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not. Listen, he got beat and he got bashed up by Kiko, who's outstanding, and he's talking about levels. And Jordan, obviously he wasn't ready for that level. But does it mean that he'll never be ready for that level? No, because fighters can get beat at a certain level, but take from it, learn from it, go back, rebuild, develop, and then end up
Exactly.
being champions that being world champions, or proving that they can box at that level. It's like fighters get beat at domestic level. Does that mean that they're never going to win world? There's fighters that are world champions that have been beat at domestic level.
Yeah,
It's what you take from it. Can you develop from it? Can you learn? Can you get better? And Jordan just feels. I feel as well. I agree with him that he owes it to himself to have a run at super featherweight and see how, because like I said, that a lot of fighters will tell you when they spar, they was showing no sorts of weaknesses or anything like that. But then the last few pounds can make them a little bit more
yeah,
vulnerable. And it may feel the benefits of moving up to super featherweight for that. It's not like he's going to struggle, or he's going to have to put weight on. It was a big featherweight,
yeah.
in terms of making the weight. But yeah, I think super featherweight will suit him. But then again, I'm not just going to just chuck him straight into big fights. He needs
Yeah, yeah.
he needs to come back from that, and I need to see how he is coming back from that.
Well, my last question, mate. We've just finished the end of 2022. Where do you see yourself at the end of 2023? What have you done? Where are you at the end of 2023?
All all I do at the end of each year is I look back, and however successful or unsuccessful it's been, I just think, got to outdo last year, and that's all. That's all I do. I don't make resolutions. I don't make big plans. I want my fighters to have progressed from where they were, and that's all I want. Um, so in terms of 22, has Opie Price progressed from 21? Yes. Stephen Cairns progressed from 21? Yes. Jordan, even though Jordan's got beat, he won a European title.
Yeah,
So he
exactly,
progressed
mate.
from 2021. So you have to put things into perspective. Although it's, oh, he's got beat, is this, how, at the start of 22, if you'd have said to Jordan Gill, this year you're going to win a European title, he'd have snatched your hand off, and he'd have
Yeah.
snatched that, and it'd be like, yes, please, yes. And we forget that because he ended up losing. But he lost at world level. So it's no shame. He lost to a very, very good fighter who just keeps coming back, like Freddy Krueger.
Well, Dave, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, mate. I hope for the best for you this year. I've
Thanks,
been
Matt.
Indy Dixon. He's been Dave Coldwell, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers, mate. Take care.